Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of KPW War Zone. It is I, Tapey Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always, and we are only 12 nights away from our next monthly special event. We are, of course, talking about Collision Course, where we will be seeing quite possibly one of the biggest matches in KPW history. We are, of course, talking about our World Heavyweight Championship defense coming up in just 12 nights as Pando, the Siberian Silver Bear, our reigning, defending, and dominant World Heavyweight Champion, takes on the Viceroy Jedi, a man that has been forever revered, synonymous even with the idea of the KPW World Heavyweight Championship, a man that has been more accustomed to being world champion than anybody else. But only one of these heads will prevail. But for tonight's a different story, folks, because in our main event we'll be seeing them coexist in tag team action as they take on Parliaments, Kruger, and Papyrus in the main event. Also, still to come, we will be hearing from the King of Stego Style, Corey Sinclair, as we hope to get another glimpse into the mind of this twisted individual. He's been on quite the hot streak, kind of a mean streak, to say the least. We're hoping to get some ideas about where his intentions lie, what his goals are for the rest of 2025, as we're only 6 weeks away from the end of the year, which is kind of hard to believe that it's just passed by that quickly. What an eventful year it's been for KPW, but certainly it's been a very eventful year for these two warring factions, Bunker Hill and Parliament, and we'll be seeing another incarnation of that battle here tonight in the Forum as the Heartthrob takes on the secret weapon. It's Popo versus Hosway. But also, still to come, more singles action, specifically focusing around the Twitch division as the KPW Twitch champion, The Sauce, looks to go 1-on-1 against one half of the First Nation. We are, of course, talking about the War Machine, Slardy. And that will all be coming down later in the evening. Also still to come, however, in a month that's just been littered with whirlwinds, roundabouts, swerves, inside and out. Last week we saw this man propose an idea to the star attraction Pierre Cinema under the quote-unquote interest of fairness. The director, Steven Gielberg, electing to get his own Goonies into a 2v1 handicap match against the star attraction, against France's greatest export, which proved to be quite the ambush. And as the board of directors were able to step in and make an intervention, Steven Gielberg will now have to reap what he sows. Moments away as we find out who Pierre Cinema picked to be the opponent of the director here tonight. But before we get down to action, before we get to the bell-to-bell action here, folks, we understand that Roger is on standby at ringside, and it appears that he is being flanked by some local security here. This must be quite the important issue here. Perhaps it has everything to do with some of these long-standing rumors that have been floating around about KPW. So let's get right to the source. Let's get those cameras rolling at ringside. Let's see what Roger has to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we have tonight is truly something that will change the landscape of KPW as we know it. And my guest here this evening has spent the fall decimating anything in his path. Please welcome the KPW Hardcore Champion, the Misfit, Bob.
Well, now it just makes perfect sense as to why the security's there. Having to deal with the Misfit, a man full of pent-up aggression, a man that just encapsulates anger and despair. A brutal champion, a fighting champion, our hardcore champion. He's been racking up defense after defense. This has to be quite the important deal here. Let's see what unfolds here at ringside.
Now, before we address anything else, Bob, just understand that this security detail alongside me is authorized to ensure my safety, and I think having this transparency is going to be very important for the news I've been allowed to deliver here tonight.
Authorized for Roger's safety.
Bob, the KPW Board of Directors have made this ruling official just this morning. You are hereby no longer the KPW Hardcore Champion.
No! What? Bob is being stripped of the Hardcore
Championship. You will no longer need to worry about
Championship?
lugging around that championship through customs every week, and you will no longer need to feel concerned about defending that title. Please, hand over the KPW Hardcore Championship belt.
Well, who could have seen that coming? Bob's not just gonna hand it over after being told he's been stripped of the championship. Certainly a tense moment
now
inside
that
the ring.
Bad news is out of the way, I'm glad you're still standing here, Bob.
Bad news?
Because we have great news for you. Just because you are no longer the KPW Hardcore Champion does not mean you are no longer a champion here in KPW.
What's he talking about?
You have carried yourself with pride, dignity, and your sheer force has truly governed the KPW locker room since you became a champion. You've waved your flag very highly, and above all else, unapologetically. You set the bar for what a champion should be here in KPW, which is why you are now officially the first ever KPW American Champion.
Oh my God! I can't believe it! He's been crowned the inaugural KPW American
brings us
Champion!
To the next important piece of business. As the first ever KPW American Champion, you will be defending that title in 2 weeks' time after Collision Course on December 1st.
No!
Don't interrupt me, son, cause that melting pot division still means anybody can challenge for that belt we handed you. Even an old coot like myself. Your challenger in 2 weeks, however, has really carried the namesake of America these past several months. He's going to truly put your skills to the test as he aims to bring more gold home to Bunker Hill. Your next challenger is none other than...
Oh my God! That's the heartthrob! That's Popo! Popo's looking to answer the challenge! He's looking to bring some gold home to Bunker Hill! And what a way to crash the party! An already historic night here in KPW! Soiled for the Misfit! And Popo just dropped the inaugural, the now standing KPW American Champion. 2 weeks ahead of his first defense. You understand that the KPW Hardcore Championship will now be retired, and Bob will forever be in the history books as KPW's final hardcore champion. But tonight has definitely been the signal, the beacon of a new era here in KPW, a true sign of the times to represent a melting pot division of some of the best and brightest stars here. And they're looking to shine as bright as that beautiful new American Championship, as Popo will now challenge the Misfit Bob for the KPW American Championship in just 2 weeks' time. But speaking of challenges, look no further, because in the interest of fairness, the director, Steven Gielberg, will have to go one-on-one here tonight against a hand-picked opponent of the star attraction, Pierre Cinema. And that is just moments away. And this is just absolutely astounding. What a absolutely hot start to Warzone here tonight in the forum. Bob being ceremoniously handed the new American Championship. Already a challenger is emerging. And speaking of challengers, speaking of emergence, can't mention that term without bringing up the director, Steven Gielberg. And it looks like we got our answer for who's gonna be the hand-picked opponent. The Diamond Dragon wants another piece of the director. It's Opulence. We saw this man make his debut here in KPW 2 weeks ago on Warzone. He went one-on-one against Steven Gielberg, and quite an impressive showing. And there might not have been any hard feelings if it wasn't for what transpired after the bell. Pierre Cinema, he's looking at kill two birds with one stone here tonight. He's looking to soften up Steven Gielberg before his bout against him at Collision Course in 12 nights. And Opulence, he's looking for payback from the beatdown that this man gave him after the bell rang once their match concluded. Spinning back elbow from Opulence. A man that moves with such style, with such grace. It's like he's always moving in one continuous motion. There's no hesitation. It's just all pep in his step, and that's exactly what you want to see from somebody here in KPW, especially with how fierce that locker room can be. Confidence can get you very far here in KPW. If Opulence keeps this energy up, if he could keep the intensity up, he might have a very bright future ahead of him. Irish whip to Steven Gielberg. Forearm strike, taking him down. And Opulence, he's just unloading on Steven Gielberg. Big boot attempted, but Opulence catches the foot of Steven Gielberg, and he is just moving at breakneck speeds here tonight. He is not giving the director any time to breathe whatsoever. Opulence, he is just so much more aggressive here tonight than we saw him 2 weeks ago. And who could blame him? Steven Gielberg, he had him all lined up, positioned to put him through that table with the blue shell bomb. We saw Pierre Cinema on the receiving end of a blue shell bomb last week after that handicap match on War Zone, where Steven Gielberg lured him into the boiler room to put him through a table. Pierre Cinema left that building as a bloody mess, and a cover from Opulence, 1 count. As Steven Gielberg makes a swift kick out. Right hook from Opulence. Big boot attempted once again by Steven Gielberg, but Opulence catches the foot and swings him downwards like a pendulum. Opulence perches Steven Gielberg up high here. Back body drop from the top. And now he turns Steven Gielberg inside out with that lariat cover. And Steven Gielberg, he gets the shoulder up at 2. It was hard to say if he was going to kick out of that one. That was a hellacious lariat. And this is exactly the kind of energy that could really turn the tides of this bout around in the favor of Opulence. Which was such an intense back and forth bout just 2 weeks ago. Opulence is now in full control. He knows Steven Gielberg just a little bit better than he did before. And I think Steven Gielberg, he's going to have to up the intensity on his end here. He's going to have to match what Opulence is putting out here tonight.
13, 14, 15.
Chandelier lock on the floor here. A modified crossface right in front of the announcer's desk. Right in front of me here, folks.
18.
Count of 18. I don't think Opulence is going to settle for a count out.
19.
Opulence perched up top here, sizing up the director. Looking for a high knee from the top, but Steven Gielberg catches the knee and takes him off his vertical base with a European uppercut. Uthez press from Steven Gielberg. I gotta say, this has been one hell of a play, courtesy of Pierre Cinema. Steven Gielberg, he's been trying to blackmail his way to the top. He's been trying to take advantage of Pierre Cinema every step of the way. And while he hasn't been able to get a total advantage over Pierre Cinema, he's certainly busted him up. He's bruised him up badly. He seemingly picked up a numbers advantage against the man. Another forearm strike from Opulence. A quick hook kick from Opulence, trapping the arm in place there. Cyclone strike from Opulence. As the director tosses the Diamond Dragon through the middle ropes and down to the floor. Back elbow strike takes Opulence off the apron here. Spinning leg drop.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Opulence sending Steven Gielberg's head careening into that ring post.
12, 13.
As he rolls Steven Gielberg underneath the bottom rope here. Senton from the top, but nobody home. This is the perfect opportunity for Steven Gielberg to pick up some sort of advantage here against Opulence.
1,
Another cyclone strike from Opulence takes Steven Gielberg down. A quick pinfall to follow it up, but only a 2 count. Schoolboy cover-up attempt. Going for it once again here. He wants to score quite a sizable upset here tonight. And that would be one hell of a way to get into the head of Steven Gielberg. That would be one way to get right back at him. Opulence, I think he's going for another senton. Steven Gielberg avoids it once again here. Seemed like Opulence, he might have gone a little bit far for that senton bomb from the top, but Steven Gielberg was able to roll fast enough out of harm's way. I don't think we've ever seen such speed from the director here before. We are absolutely seeing this man's fight or flight instincts kick in here tonight. I know that Steven Gielberg, if he wants those opportunities that he's been clamoring for, the ones that he's been blackmailing Pierre Cinema so he can step all over him and swipe those opportunities from, he needs to pick up some reputable victories like the one he earned 2 weeks ago on War Zone. But Opulence, he sure as hell isn't gonna make it easy for him. Opulence looking for payback. Blue shell bomb. And now he's going for that chandelier lock. Steven Gielberg running right towards him. Schoolboy pinfall attempt, and he gets it. Opulence gets his payback here tonight. Revenge is a dish best served with gold. The Diamond Dragon with another impressive showing here tonight, as he evens the score against the director in this rematch. And Pierre Cinema standing right next to Opulence, the Diamond Dragon, at the top of the entryway, congratulating him on a job well done. They're both one step closer to achieving their goals, and Opulence certainly achieved his here tonight. He has got one over on the director, and Pierre Cinema to give Steven Gielberg one hell of a fight in just 12 nights. But if you want to talk about fights, we gotta talk about what's coming up next. In our Twitch Championship division, the Twitch champion, the Sauce, goes one-on-one against the War Machine, one half of the First Nation, Slardy. First Nation, they've been quite prolific, quite active in recent months, in recent weeks especially. They've been stirring up quite some trouble in the tag team division. And Slardy's one hell of a man when it comes to deconstruction, as he looks to take apart the KPW Twitch champion, the Rhinestone Cowboy, the Sauce. Sauce. He's been one hell of a Twitch champion ever since he regained the gold. He went through a real championship drought for the better part of 18 months. He made a strong defense at Madhouse last month against Tape. And he's looking to keep the energy high as he prepares for another championship defense at Collision Course. Who his challenger will be in just 12 nights has yet to be determined. But we know the Sauce, he is ready to take on anybody that wants a piece of the gold that he has around his waist. Slardy looking to take the Sauce's head off with a running clothesline, head full of steam, smokestack shooting out the ears as he just slams right into the Sauce with that forearm. Sauce trying to slow things down, take it back to a pace that suits him and benefits him more. And this is exactly where the Sauce is going to want to thrive in. Take Slardy down to his speed. Break him down at a methodical pace. Slow and steady, winning the race for the Sauce. Shin breaker to Slardy. A good strike from the Sauce. Takes down Slardy. Slardy, he's one hell of a striker himself, however. Quite a bold move to engage this man in a striking contest. Not often when you see somebody get the upper hand on Slardy in a situation like this, and I think we just saw that unfold with the Sauce. Double axe to the outside, but Slardy was ready for it.
6, 7.
And he's still keeping the pressure high. A headlock takeover from the Sauce. Transitioning into an arm bar, blocking off any access to the ropes. Slardy's gonna have to inch with his legs to get closer. Sauce dropping Slardy with a DDT there. Back body drop as Slardy recoils off the ropes. Sauce looking to go low on the War Machine. Slardy trying to use his head to get out of this precarious situation here. Open palm strike right into the corner. Slardy trying to catch him with those tie-up knee strikes, but the Sauce goes low. Reverse DDT. Cover.
1, 2.
And the Sauce, he's all fired up here. He absolutely started this match in the second gear here, and that's what Slardy has to match here, as he does so with a hellacious spine on the pine, spine buster, as he continues to hone in on the torso region of the Sauce. Sauce trying to slow down Slardy once again with a sleeper hold this time. And when it comes to submissions, you definitely don't want to be caught in the web of the War Machine Slardy. Slardy, of course, sharing that patented high-angle Boston Crab with his First Nation stablemate in Sigma Shuko. That patented lion tamer. It's put plenty of combatants away here over the course of KPW history. It's one of the many things that have made the First Nation such a fearsome duo here in KPW.
11, 12, 13.
Irish whip into the guardrail right for the Kumite faithful. Count of 15 now.
16.
A throat thrust. Slardy.
17.
Heavy emphasis on deconstruction here. Full Nelson slam here.
19.
Count of 19. Is he gonna take the count out over the champion?
Count out.
And by any means necessary, the War Machine steals one over the sauce. That's certainly gonna put a wrench in the plans of the KPW Twitch champion. I don't think anybody expected this, but that is a classic tactic that we've been seeing time and time again from the First Nation. We've seen it work double time in the tag team division, and here we see it playing out once again here tonight. Congratulations to Slardy on what many would consider an unethical victory, but a victory nonetheless. The Sauce is definitely gonna have to keep something in the back pocket for whoever challenges for the Twitch Championship at Collision Course, knowing that this could very well be a possibility. He may be protected by a countout loss. He may not have to worry about losing the championship that way, but he's certainly gonna be feeling the bruises and welts of that hard-hitting bout. But coming up next, something that's going to be quite brutal, quite heavy hitting, especially for both men involved in this. Quite a bit of history going into this bout here tonight, as we have yet another battle of Bunker Hill versus Parliament. A rematch, in fact, from Summer Spark many months ago, where we saw this man defect to Parliament as the secret weapon. Hosway goes one-on-one against Bunker Hill's heartthrob, the man that will be challenging for the American Championship in just 2 weeks' time, Popo. We saw this man earlier on tonight crash the party of the Misfit Bob as he was being crowned the inaugural KPW American Champion, as the board of directors retired the Hardcore Championship. And what a way to represent this melting pot division here that we have in KPW. Not only are we seeing the heartthrob in action, but we're also going to be seeing the secret weapon. A more than credible challenger for the American Championship in his own right, Hosway. And if he was able to bring that home to Parliament, think of the message that would send to Bunker Hill. They've been running subterfuge on Parliament for the better part of the year. And to take the championship that has that national namesake centered around it, that would be a real crushing blow there. Crucifix pin by Popo, but not even a 1 count. as Hosway gets the shoulder free of that crucifix lock. Hip toss from Popo, keeping the pressure up on Hosway. Jawbreaker from the secret weapon, very subtly adorning the Parliament colors on the armbands, signature purple color of Parliament. A color that very much represents their loyalty to the monarch, Oliver English, a man that has been joined at the hip with Hosway for the better part of this month as he tries to establish an olive branch to try and keep him within the ranks here. Hosway expressing plenty of frustrations after losing the Twitch Championship and the ongoing war. Things not moving as fast as he had hoped that they would move. But putting himself on the map here against the Heartthrob, that'd be one hell of a conflict resolution. Popo ricocheting Hosway off the ropes right into a Texas T. And he's not gonna take the quick victory like that. I didn't think so. That would have been one hell of a way to pick up a victory over Hosway, catching him completely off guard with that. We saw him do the same thing to the Bob earlier on tonight. And if Popo is able to do that in just 2 weeks' time, he could very well dethrone Bob of the new American Championship. Forearm strike to the back of Hosway, working down that lumbar region, softening him up blow by blow. Irish whip off the ropes, back elbow takes Hosway off that vertical base. Hosway looking for that spinning back heel kick, and he connects with it, catching Popo flush on the jaw. The wrist lock from the Heartthrob, working down the shoulders, loosening up the joints of Hosway there. Missile drop kick, but Hosway catches it. Quick strike from Hosway takes Popo through the ropes. Hosway trying to follow it up with a tope suicida.
5, 6, 7.
Popo's right there on the floor to catch him. Reverse arm bar on the outside. Count of 9. Hosway returns to the ring. He has until the count of 20 to return inside the squared circle. We saw that play out perfectly in the previous bout at the expense of our Twitch champion, the Sauce. Popo looking to put Hosway to sleep here tonight. Wishing him sweet dreams, weaving them together before he can march forward with his championship match in just 2 weeks' time. Just 48 hours after Collision Course on the 29th, another hook kick from Hosway. And this has been one hell of a back and forth contest here tonight between these two, ladies and gentlemen. Neck breaker from Hosway. Waist lock reversal from Hosway. Hosway looking for a bow and arrow lock on Popo. Really putting his flexibility to the test here. Both these men, they have quite devastating special maneuvers. We saw Popo's in action just minutes ago with that Texas T super kick. Hosway is yet to bust his out. And it is imperative of the heartthrob to make sure he doesn't connect with that whatsoever. That tiger driver that Hosway calls the angel dust.
Right.
Hosway clutching the neck from all those sustained strikes that Popo's been dishing out throughout the duration of this bout. That is not all the action that we're going to see here tonight, courtesy of Parliament. We still have a main event with them discreetly involved in it. Chaos Control, Papyrus, and Kruger team up against the two men that will be main eventing Collision Course for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jedi, and of course the world champion himself, the Siberian Silver Bear, Pando. That is all up next. Also still to come, we get an intimate interview with the King of Sego style. Popo stealing one with the small package. If there has been one thing about this man here tonight, is that he has mastered the element of surprise. He caught the American champion, the Misfit Bob, off guard in his coronation ceremony earlier on tonight. And now he's been able to catch Hosway off guard with one of the oldest tricks in the book, the small package. We got another quick look at that. Look at how quickly Popo was able to wrap his legs in position to lock Hosway in place there. All he had to do was just completely go stiff. Clutch the neck in place. Fold up Hosway like an accordion. And that was all she wrote. Slap Thigh Jones counting the 3 there. As Popo picks up yet another victory. Bunker Hill stays one step ahead of Parliament in the ever-going faction war, which seemingly has no end in sight. I don't think either side is willing to surrender. And I don't think a man like Hosway is going to allow his pride to get in between all of this. He has to stay focused on his goals at Collision Course. Him and Oliver English are going to conquer the tag team division. And as I'm receiving word here, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be seeing him get put to the test one more time before we make our stop at Collision Course on the 29th. Because next Monday night on War Zone, we'll be seeing Hosway and Oliver English team up against the former tag team champions, the other stalwarts of Bunker Hill, K-Dog and Solo. As we're also receiving word just now, we'll be seeing the Sauce in singles action once again here, hopefully with better endeavors, as he'll be going up against Greek Machismo, Nick Flawless. But before we get to our main event, tag team action, what awaits for us Are the cameras ready to roll? Roger is on standby at the interview booth as he looks to get a word in with the king of Stego style, the much maligned Corey Sinclair.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest this evening, the king of Stego style, Corey Sinclair. You have picked up 2 major victories as of late. Chris Billy at Madhouse, under controversial circumstances.
Controversial? That was by the books.
As well as Pierre Cinema just 2 weeks ago on War Zone. You have turned over a new leaf lately, and quite frankly, I don't think it's a side anybody is willing to respect.
Thankfully, when it comes to respect, it's not something you need to succeed here in KPW. What these people think isn't going to make me a world champ. Your perception isn't going to make a franchise player out of me. Stacking WS is what matters, and that's why I'm here to call my shot. Pando, you may claim to be the hungriest man here in this ecosystem. But I got the eyes of a hunter, and next week is open season. If you're the alpha you think you are, you'll make that crucial detour before collision course.
It's very convenient that you called out the KPW World Heavyweight Champion for next week's main event, because the KPW Board of Directors is also making this rematch official the same night. For the first time since Madhouse last year, the Man Beast will take on the Viceroy. Chris Billy will be in the building next week to go one-on-one with Jedi.
Oh my God! What a bombshell announcement from Roger! I think the gravity of that situation is really settling in with Corey Sinclair. He hasn't come face to face with Chris Billy since Madhouse. And now that these two are going to be in the same building for the first time since that night, who knows what the hell is going to transpire? Plenty of high stakes bouts going into next week's War Zone. The Viceroy taking on Chris Billy for the first time in over a year. But first, he has to operate on the same page as the man that he will challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship in less than 2 weeks. As he leads the charge against Parliament here tonight, we saw him make the save for Pando back at Madhouse after that 2v1 handicap match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And here he comes marching in. A true tour de force. A man that represents pure destruction. A far and away breakout star in KPW this year. A man that has had a absolutely meteoric rise here. The Siberian Silver Bear Pando. Staring down his tag team partner, making sure he's on the same page, making sure he's gonna operate on the same wavelength. Can these two men coexist in our main event of the evening? Jedi electing to start this bout. Barking orders at the champion to get back in the corner. As he takes the fight right to Kruger. Headlock takeover from the Viceroy. don't let it be mistaken here, folks. We've seen how dominant the Viceroy can be here in KPW. He came in to this place as an outsider looking to take things over, and good God, did he achieve that goal. He came in with the express intent of becoming the world heavyweight champion. He held that championship belt hostage for a record-setting 218 days. There is no other individual here in KPW that has ever held a championship as long as Jedi. Certain parties have come close for different championships, but none have ever surpassed him. Wristlock reversal from Jedi as he turns Papyrus inside out. That's a 400-pound man. Pando looking to slingshot right into the 400-pounder, and he bounced right off of him. Pando looking to go for a lariat on the big man, trying his luck on Papyrus, and we've seen these two collide in the ring before. It was just last week at the contract signing for this bout at Collision Course that we saw Oliver English interrupt the transmissions, take over the feed to address both of these combatants heading into Collision Course and volunteering Chaos Control to do his dirty work here tonight. Pando's certainly not going to forget all the hell, the trials and tribulations that Parliament tried to put him through. They blew up his car. They put him through Buckingham Palace rules. They put him through a 2v1 handicap match just to defend his world championship. The odds were truly stacked against this man. And Pando just slammed a 400-pound man right into the turnbuckles. Absolutely unparalleled power, courtesy of the World Heavyweight Champion here in our main event. Pando trying to isolate the 400-pound Papyrus. It's one hell of a plan. Let's see if he can keep the pressure up, make sure it goes exactly as it should. Pando choking the life out Papyrus, and that's a lot of dead weight to be dropping into the canvas here. Pando pulling Jedi into harm's way here, and I think the Viceroy realized it. What we have coming up is a battle of legacy here. Tandem offense from the challengers. A doomsday device on the 400-pounder. And Papyrus makes a much needed tag, and Kruger bites the bullet for him on that spear. Just cut him right down, just split him right down the middle. One hell of a cut across the grain there, courtesy of Pando. That's quite a lot of beef in the corner there. Papyrus slamming Pando's head into the corner. Papyrus looking to move in on the World Heavyweight Champion.
1, 2,
And now Chaos Control has Jedi surrounded.
4, 5, 6.
Pando trying to look for any sort of equalizer. He would love to get his hands on Parliament a little bit more. Pando trying to go for a scoop slam once again, but he just couldn't lift the big man up this time around. Jedi, what the hell is he thinking? Was he trying to suplex a 400-pound man over the top rope and down to the floor? We've seen the Viceroy pull off some insane feats of strength here before. That's exactly how he won his World Heavyweight Championship to begin with just a year ago at Madhouse. But think of the core strength that would have taken it not only to suplex somebody over the top rope like that, but also the fact that it's just a man twice his size. Kruger stepping in to take on the Siberian Silver Bear. Tandem offense. Once again, as Pando sets up Jedi perfectly for that springboard missile drop kick. I think these two, they are more than willing to coexist out of necessity here tonight. But they understand going into Collision Course, it will be a one-man show when as soon as that bell rings. Frog splash from Jedi. Spinning back fist from Jedi as he beckons Kruger back to his feet. Enziguri counter from Kruger. Papyrus tags in, but Pando provides one hell of an assist with that spear. Back heel kick to Papyrus. Jedi buying himself plenty of time here. Papyrus with the side suplex. And it's now Kruger providing the assist for his tag team partner in Chaos Control. And it's been certainly a topic worth discussing regarding the status of Parliament, regarding like the pecking order. Jedi getting knocked off the top rope and taking a nasty tumble down to the floor.
4, 5, 6.
He's slowly and surely trying to recuperate on the outside here.
9.
Kruger
10.
catching up to Jedi here, zeroing in on a new target.
13. 14. 15.
Count of 15, the action returns inside the ring. Exploder suplex from the Viceroy. A leaping clothesline from the Viceroy as he keeps the pressure up on Chaos Control a little bit more. Papyrus moving in on the Viceroy, providing quite the assist for Kruger with that shoulder breaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening here tonight on Warzone, a tag team match for the ages. Representing Parliament, it's Kruger and Papyrus going up against two men that will be in the main event of our next monthly special event, Collision Course, in just 12 nights on the 29th. World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs as the Viceroy Jedi challenges our World Heavyweight Champion, the Siberian Silver Bear Pando, for the gold. And Jedi's been making one hell of a move against Chaos Control here tonight.
4, 5.
It's been all about protecting legacies.
7, 8.
Heading into that historic night just ahead of us.
10, 11.
Jedi, of course,
12.
a man that has held the World Heavyweight Championship longer than anybody else here in KPW, a record-setting 218 days in his first reign. Looking to make a second reign out of things if he could defeat Pando in less than 2 weeks' time.
19.
Pando looking to build a legacy, and he'd have one hell of a name on his resume if he could defeat the Viceroy in 2 weeks' time to retain the championship. But it's still a long road ahead for both of these men, as they're going to be in some high-stakes bouts here next week on Warzone. Our world champion Pando scoop slam on Papyrus. He's got one hell of a task ahead of him next week, as he goes one-on-one against the King of Stego style, Corey Sinclair. And I think we saw a little bit of miscommunication there. Papyrus sidestepping Pando. Pando clotheslining Jedi, but I don't even think he flinched in that matter. Bear Claw and Papyrus, and Kruger was there to break it up at the count of 2. And speaking of Jedi, we'll be seeing him in action next week, as he has a very highly anticipated rematch ahead of him, as he and the 525-pound man beast Chris Billy will butt heads in the ring once again for the first time in over a year. The last time they met in the middle of the ring, it was for the World Heavyweight Championship, and that was where Jedi was crowned the World Heavyweight Champion for the first time in his career. A hellacious spear by Pando to Kruger. Irish whip into the turnbuckle. Pando being pushed back towards the corner like a caged animal, and trying to trap a bear in a cage. That is an arduous task for any man. But that is where the team effort, that is where that experience from Chaos Control is going to come in favor here tonight. You know, they can stay on the same page here tonight. They know each other inside and out. They have well-established chemistry as a tag team here. They've been quite the difference maker for Parliament. They've been very loyal henchmen to Oliver English, as he continues his quest to make his great vision a reality. Pando Definitely in direct conflict of that great vision. He held back the efforts of Parliament. Now Oliver English has been sent packing back down the totem pole, having to work his way back towards any sort of championship opportunity.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The Jedi, after he lost that championship inside of a steel cage back in May,
7, 8,
ever since he made his return with one hell of a vengeance
10,
back in July,
11,
he's been
12,
hovering around that World Heavyweight Championship. Is
14.
never come too far away from the Viceroy in all that time.
16.
But the opening has finally been made. He's finally secured himself one hell of an opportunity. He's had quite an impeccable record here in KPW, much like Pando. He was embroiled in one hell of a feud all summer long against the Bam Bus, Bam Dardino, Ricky Rhombus. He was finally able to shake them off in that 60-minute tag team Ironman match at Euphoria just 2 months ago. If there was ever a man that has been more than willing to wage war for just to achieve his goals, just to complete his desires, it's certainly been the Viceroy. Pando headbutts to the back of the head of Kruger. No protection there whatsoever for Oliver English's most loyal lackey. Bear hug in the corner. Running shoulder breaker courtesy of the world champion on the 400-pounder nonetheless. Irish whip into the ropes. Kruger hangs on. That might have been a life-saving decision there. But Pando, he's going to be constantly on the move here, for better or for worse. They need to use his momentum. They need to use his aggression against him. Super kick onto Pando.
1.
And this could be a serious upset, but Pando, he kicks out at 1. That is the sort of athlete that a man like Jedi is going to have to deal with in less than 2 weeks. This freak of nature. A once in a lifetime, a generational athlete. Like the Siberian Silver Bear, he still has plenty of his battle scars, but he doesn't feel anything less than 100%. And we've seen him pull some death-defying stunts here in KPW. Who could forget back at Mayhem in that parking lot brawl against Slardy? We saw this man moonsault from the top of a tractor trailer.
6.
A life or death decision. It was either Pando or Slardy, and he got the bullseye on that.
9.
And even then, he still didn't walk away unscathed.
11.
He's still wearing that knee brace ever since that night. A permanent reminder of what Pando is willing to do just to achieve his goals. These two are going to push each other to the absolute extremes in less than 2 weeks. But one of these two combatants is going to be the more stubborn man that night. Pando just unleashing a flurry of strikes into the back of the head of Papyrus. Jedi's going to do everything in his power to make sure he walks away the champion that night. But he's got to make sure that he can get through this night as well as his tag team partner. They've been doing quite a decent job at coexisting. Some lines of miscommunication along the way.
1, 2,
But they are more than ready to
3,
make sure that their means reach an end here.
5,
They're certainly on the same page regarding Parliament.
8, 9, 10.
And that might be the only thing that they're on the same page about.
13,
Back
14,
body dropped by Kruger.
15,
Jedi buying his tag team partner plenty of time, softening up Papyrus on the outside.
17,
Papyrus making a beeline back inside the ring, count of 17. Coming dangerously close to being counted out. Jedi making the tag, sneaking one in behind the backs of Parliament, behind the backs of Chaos Control. Papyrus between a rock and a hard place here. Jedi trying to intervene however he can to make sure that he can't secure the tag. Jedi taking the fight to Papyrus as if the bell just rang.
1,
He's kept that intensity going. Full force here. Pando setting up Jedi with that hellacious spear to Papyrus. Northern Light suplex on a 400-pound man. Just absolutely insane core strength from the Viceroy. Waistlock transition from Papyrus. Jedi's all fired up here. Quick thrust to the chin of Papyrus. Jedi breaking free of the grip of Kruger here. Jedi looking Pando dead in the eyes. Hoisting up the 400-pounder for a sledgehammer.
1, 2, 3,
And that's one hell of a message to send going into collision course. Look at the cold stare from the... Look at that gaze. Undeterring, unbreaking of the Viceroy. Demonstrating his power. Heading into collision course in less than 2 weeks. Telling Pando directly, if I could pick up a big man the size of Papyrus, the size of Chris Billy, you could very well just be light work that night. And all it takes is the right place, the right time for the Viceroy to strike. And these two have only got one pit stop left to go next week on War Zone, as Jedi will be in a rematch against the 525-pound man beast, Chris Billy. And the World Heavyweight Champion Pando will be going one-on-one against the King of Stego Style, Corey Sinclair. And that is all the time we have here, folks. I have been Tapey Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. Wishing you all a good night, everybody.